This is the story of Kiara's dad, and that day is still stuck in her head. It all started with Michaela and Sean planning to have children. They planned to have 4 kids. Michaela didn't really care if any of them would be mostly girls or mostly boys. Sean, on the other hand, wanted to have 2 boys and 2 girls to make it fair. One day, Kiara, her mom, and her siblings went to go somewhere. And whenever they leave, Kiara's dad, Sean, would always feel furious. Since him and Michaela planned to have 4 kids, he expected to have only 2 daughters and 2 sons. But Michaela only given birth to girls. And Sean always acted natural and pretends to love them. But in his mind, he keeps on wishing that he had 2 sons and 2 daughters. Sean was now starting to plan on arguing with Michaela. One day later, Kiara was using her computer until she heard her parents arguing. And so Kiara and her sisters went to go to their parents' room to see what was going on. Sean was arguing with Michaela, saying that there was too many girls in this house, and it wasn't that he expected, because he expected it to be different. Michaela tells Sean that it wasn't her fault, that she mostly gave birth to daughters, and that she didn't give birth to sons. Sean refuses to believe it, and tells Michaela that he wanted to have only 2 daughters or 2 sons. Or that he prefers to have mostly sons other than just daughters. Michaela then asks Sean of what's wrong with only having daughters, and wonders why does he want sons so badly. Sean then answers to Michaela that if he had sons, he would have teach them to do the stuff that he does, like sports, and once they're older, he would have teach them to drive. And since they have 4 daughters, he says that they're only capable of doing the chores that Michaela does. And also he says that if they had sons, they wouldn't only help Michaela, but they would also help Sean as well, with the yard work or if he's trying to fix something. Michaela tells Sean that he can just tell her or their daughters that they can help him if he needs help. But Sean doesn't want to bother asking their daughters because he thinks that they're going to complain about it. And he also thinks that they probably can't even do any yard work or fixing things. Michaela states that Sean's whole point of this argument, that if they had sons, they would help Sean and do the other things that he said. Sean then says something to Michaela that shocked her. He tells Michaela that he could have gave Kiara and Imani up for adoption, and they could have tried again and get sons that he mostly wanted. Michaela was then furious at Sean. She yells at Sean that she would never ever in her heart will give up their daughters for adoption. And just tells Sean to just accept that she didn't give birth to any sons and only given birth to daughters. They kept on arguing, and pretty much Nadia and Trinity was very mad at their father, and they felt bad for their mother. Over the past few days, they kept arguing until Sean is now wanting to leave the house because he doesn't want to be in a house full of girls. Michaela didn't care and just told Sean to leave. But after that, Michaela felt worried and sad because if it's just her on her own, she would probably feel stressed out. Even though she loves her daughters so much, she's worried about her care of all her 4 daughters, her thinking that it won't be good enough without a father. She was thinking of marrying another man, but she doesn't know if that would be a good idea. But Michaela eventually found another father which he didn't care if he had more sons or daughters. And his name is Damien. And surprisingly, Damien was Michaela's friend from a long time ago until they were separated because they both moved from a different town until they moved into a town that they are currently living at. And as for the daughters, they are grateful that they now have a dad, well, stepdad, that cares, instead of Sean, who is their real dad that just acts selfish and just disapproves that he has lots of daughters. Even though Damien has stepdaughters now, he'll do his best to be the best dad they ever had and help them out if they ever need help. And none of them knows where Sean is heading to, but they rather forget about him if he really wants to not be in a family where there's mostly girls instead of sons that he really wants. And they probably know that he's never ever going to come back and regret everything.